Hello everyone! Today I thought it would be fun to talk about the characters introduced in the Ghislaine era of Thomas & Friends. For those who don't know, the Ghislaine era comprises of seasons 6 and 7, these taking place between Thomas and the Magic Railroad and the Hit era. I will talk about why I think they are or aren't interesting, and their overall impact on the show. However, I feel I need to put down some rules. 1. Human characters won't be included. While I do enjoy some of the new faces, most of them don't really affect the series going forward. 2. Jack and the Pack also won't be included. I do enjoy the Pack, but there are so many different characters and cancelled stories and spin-offs that they need a video of their own. 3. This is my personal ranking of the characters. If you feel different, please leave a comment or make your own video and send it to me. We all have different views and opinions in this fandom, so let's be civil here and respect one another. Without any further ado, let's talk about the new characters in the Ghislaine era.
Salty, the dockyard diesel, is one of these engines.
Going in order of introduction, we're kicking things off with Salty, the dockyard diesel. Salty has always been one of my favorites. For a start, I love his design, being based on the British Railways Class 07. This is reflected a lot in his personality, work, and overall character. He is tied to the docks, and can shunt more trucks than 3 engines combined. Despite having only a handful of lead roles, he manages to appear every season following. Despite my hatred of all engines go, I can't admit that they did handle his character consistently. It's also really easy to understand his character and traits. He always finds a way to use any conversation to springboard into one of his stories, often having an effect on the plot of an episode or even movies.
"'Twas in the middle of a wee naughty storm," Salty began.
It's safe to say that Thomas & Friends just wouldn't be the same without him. A tier.
"Oh, thank you, sir."
This is Harvey, the crane engine.
Harvey is one of those characters who really stands out for his design alone. He's a steam engine, yes, but he's also part crane. This allows him to really shine in the crowd as far as design. But in terms of character, there's not really much to say. He felt really self-conscious when the others looked down on him, but not much more. The issue cleared up pretty quickly after he rescued Percy. The story was more to show people with something different about them that they are still special.
But the engines don't like me, I'm too different.
Different is what makes you special.
It's more of a way you look at it. He does regularly appear when there's a crash, but he didn't really have much of an effect on the other characters or stories. Not a bad character, but a little forgettable in terms of personality. He's mostly riding on his design. C tier.
"Thomas, meet Elizabeth," said his driver. At last, the doors opened, and out chuffed a dirty, grimy steam truck.
So I wasn't originally going to have Elizabeth on the list, but I thought it would only be fair to give her some recognition, as she's not really talked about too often. I really didn't think I'd have much to say about her going into this video, but as I rewatched her episodes, I found myself quite interested in her character. I really like her relationship with Thomas and the rivalry they have. This carries into season 7, where they put it to rest. And then in season 8, when Emily demands her to hurry up, she deliberately slows down, and Thomas knows the only way to get her to cooperate is with respect.
You should try asking nicely for a change.
I really like how she knows she's old, but prefers to say vintage.
"And you're just an old steam truck," he retorted. "That would be vintage steam truck."
Despite her age, she can be quite proud, yet easily manipulated. She stands no nonsense and doesn't like rude engines. She's also quite a hard worker, as seen when she helped restore the Scarlowy Railway and clear Emily's track. In terms of overall impact, she didn't appear much after the Hit era, yet she left a lasting impact by helping restore the narrow gauge line. Rusty full out states that they couldn't have done it without her. You know, I think Elizabeth might be one of the most underrated characters in the classic Thomas. A tier.
Oh, thank you.
Meet Emily.
Emily was one of the first female characters introduced in the show. Her inspiration draws from a Great Northern Railway Stirling single. One of the show's crew members commented that the smokebox design looked like a girl's hair going down to her shoulders, so they made a character out of it. As such, she's appeared regularly throughout the series. I've always enjoyed Emily, and she's had some nice episodes, though she's often the topic of hot debate in the fandom, as to which depiction of her is best and if she's a good character. Some enjoy her appearances in the Hit era, where she had more character traits, many of which pulled from Lucy Van Pelt in the Peanut series, according to the writing staff. Others enjoy her CGI depiction, and finally, some think she's best in the classic series. Which category do I fall in? Well, I enjoy her caring motherly side in the classic series for sure, but at the same time, many of her Hit era runs were good too. I'm particularly nostalgic for Emily's new route. Her character is quite different from season to season, but her impact on the series is undeniable, appearing in all eras and seasons following. I think I'll put her in, you know what, I'm gonna put her in B tier.
Fergus is the pride of the cement works.
Fergus is the only engine in this era who never reappeared following his debut season. This leads many people to forget him as a character. His design is still quite unique, and was probably copied for Theo in Journey Beyond Sodor. In terms of his character, he never really stood out to me when I was younger. That's not to say he was bad, just a little forgettable when put up against the likes of Spencer, Emily, and Arthur. He's very bossy and by the books. He'll follow a rule even if it doesn't make sense or even exist, as seen when Diesel tricks him. His dedication, while driving him to save Bill and Ben from falling rocks, also nearly leads to his own demise. In terms of impact though, he does have some credit to his name, not only by saving Bill and Ben, but also being a key part of Salty's plan to save a ship. In fact, the reason he never reappeared was because the model was damaged in the rock slide. I can also see a lot of myself in Fergus. I have a tendency to heavily enforce our family's house rules on my siblings. Not in a bullying manner, but I constantly find myself reminding them not to behave badly, even if they think the rule is silly. So I can see where he's coming from. For all these reasons, he has earned my respect. A for character, but C for overall impact. B tier.
Fergus felt better.
This is Arthur.
Okay, I really like Arthur. In his introduction, he is set up with a spotless record, meaning he has never done anything bad or crashed. Even the way he greets Thomas and Percy sounds high class.
Nice to meet you.
The very definition of a Gary stew. But where it gets interesting is his second episode. After his record was ruined by Thomas, he allows himself to just live. He finds a fascination with fish, something almost all the engines hate. And this ties in with his design. Arthur is based on an Ivet 2MT class tank engine, built for the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, or LMS.
I'm a Midland engine? The clue's in the name.
As the name implies, he never would have seen or smelled the sea before, and with his record, he would have avoided it at all costs. Now though, he fully embraces it. He's opening up to this way of seeing the world around him, fully released from perfection. Arthur's story kind of reminds me of Dusty Pages from My Little Pony. After her perfect librarian record was broken, she says she felt an excitement to get out and try things she couldn't before, now that she didn't have to worry about messing up.
I felt something exhilarating. What was it? Freedom. From books? From perfection.
I also enjoy Arthur's dynamic with Thomas. In Spotless Record, he brings out that cheeky side of Thomas we haven't seen for several seasons. And in Something Fishy, Thomas brings out a new side to Arthur. With Thomas being the main character of the show, he is the default engine to have a new character interact with. See Molly, Flora, Charlie, the list goes on, but very rarely do we see this kind of setup done right, where it fleshes out both our protagonists. And this is one of them. In terms of Arthur's effect on the series, there's not that much. Following Season 7, he made a brief role in Fish from Season 8, shunted a bit in Season 11, and had a small speaking role in The Great Discovery. But as he was reallocated to his branch line, I don't think he really needed to appear that much. I'm happy with what we got, and I don't think we needed much more than that. His design is also worth mentioning, as he is one of the only large tank engines in the show, and his livery is one of the most realistic ones as well. Sure, the Caledonian Twins R&B are black, but they don't have a crest. And Duck has GWR on his tanks, without the appropriate Brunswick green. In Arthur's concept art, he was shown to have a number, 41241, that being an actual Ivet 2MT in preservation. Maybe at some point the Fat Controller found a new engine to run their branch line and sent Arthur to the Keithley and Worth Valley Railway, hence why we never see him again. With so much in only a few episodes, I think he deserves a high spot. S tier.
Arthur was delighted. Ahoy, Murdoch!
Murdoch is probably best known for his design alone. His class, the 9Fs, hold the title of the strongest steam locomotive in Britain. His 10 drive wheels, orange paint, and large smoke deflectors really set him apart, which is ironic, because that's the last thing he wants to do. Murdoch is a quiet introvert, often finding peace in long, undisturbed runs through the countryside. I really like Murdoch's little arc as well, starting by avoiding all social interactions, then coming around to it after his encounter with sheep. Then he's actively taking part in Best Dressed Engine, and giving Emily advice in Season 12. I can totally relate to this. When I first meet someone, I avoid conversation. It's only after I get to know them, or we find some common ground, that I can loosen up. Another thing I like about Murdoch is the atmosphere he carries. His theme is a great example of this. It sounds big and powerful, yet has an air of gentleness to it. A real, gentle giant. I remember as a kid I rarely saw his episodes, so when I saw him appear in Percy and the Magic Carpet, I went crazy with excitement. Though he only made like 3 or 4 appearances after Season 7, his mere presence resonated with me. So while his impact on the show was a small one, he's still a standout character. B tier.
Murdoch smiled.
This is Spencer. He's the fastest engine in the world.
Ah, Spencer. Where do you start with this guy? Spencer is just one of those characters who everyone and their mom knows, and his design really helps boost this. Spencer is an LNER Class A4 Pacific. Seen by many as the ultimate in steam locomotive design, number 4468 Mallard holds the land speed record for the fastest steam locomotive in history. Though there are claims of many engines being capable of higher speed, they still have yet to beat the magnificent A4s. Spencer's silver paint also sets him apart from the soda oranges. He really looks like a flash of light streaking along the line.
I can remember it ever so well, seeing it streaking along this wonderful silver streak. It was exactly what it looked like. Lovely, lovely, especially if there was a bit of evening sunshine.
But looks are only one part of what makes him so great. Spencer was one of the last locomotives introduced in the classic series, yet has one of the greatest impacts in the show. It's always a treat to see him when he appears. He's also one of the only steam engines to take on an antagonist role, as seen in Hero of the Rails. But the best part about him is his rivalry with Gordon. I already talked about this in my Gordon and Spencer review, but I'm not done. That episode was a brilliant beginning to their rivalry, and continued right up until season 21, and it was brought to a satisfying close in Confused Coaches. Having an engine to go up against Gordon, both being from the Gresley family, is genius. I also love the episodes where we look a little deeper into his character, such as in the aforementioned Confused Coaches, Hero of the Rails, and Spencer's VIP. Despite the denial of his mistake in season 7, he eventually gets to a point where he does acknowledge that he's wrong and tries to put it right.
Thomas, I'm sorry I thought you were a tricky engine. And Hero, I'm sorry I called you a heap of scrap. You are both fine engines and fine friends.
I'm sorry I took your platform and upset all your passengers. Gone.
I can learn from my mistakes, sir. I just need to be given one more chance.
That's right! He can be taught!
With the design, character, and impact on the show, Spencer undoubtedly earns his spot in S tier.
Of course, boasted Spencer.
So in order of best to worst, we have Spencer, Arthur, Salty, Elizabeth, Emily, Fergus, Murdoch, and Harvey. Keep in mind this is just my ranking, and I don't think any of these characters are bad. But how would you rank them? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But that's it for me today. Thanks for watching.